Podcaster's recording. I don't even know what episode number this is anymore.
Hi, and welcome to Your Selling Podcast. I'm your host, Nikki Kirk, aka Your Selling Guide. I'm a small town girl who took a big risk and quit a steady corporate desk job to travel the U.S. in an RV. Along the way, I started selling on Amazon, grew a 7-figure business, visited all the lower 48 states, bought a farm, and today I am still doing what I love to do, selling on Amazon while helping other sellers do it too. Each week, I will share Amazon tips and tricks and bring in guests to share their stories, expertise, and tips on the platforms that they use. Think of this as a sit down with your Amazon bestie where you can learn, ask, start, and grow your online selling business. Welcome to Your Selling Pod.
Hey crew, and welcome back. On today's episode, I'm going to be breaking down what it's like sourcing at various stores and retailers, including tips and sales tax information. Every seller is different and they like to source where they like to source, and I totally get it. That's fine. But sometimes getting outside of what you're comfortable with and what you're used to can really turn into a lot of profit. For example, I love to source the usuals. So Walmart, Target, TJ Maxx, Marshalls. But I know there is a lot of profit in the one-off stores. So one day I decided to film a sourcing video at 2 different liquidation stores I had never been to. One was a complete bust. Everything was beat up, expired, dusty, but one was a gold mine. In fact, in 2022, I did over $80,000 in gross sales and $28,000 in profit from that one store. And I legit only went to check it out to help point out to you all that it does pay to source in these other stores. I mean, it paid off for me. The reason I personally stick to what I like is probably the same reason that you stick to what you're like. It's familiar. It's comfortable. But whenever I'm in a sourcing rut, I expand my stores. So maybe that's just a new aisle or category in a familiar store, but sometimes that means a new store completely. All right, so buckle up. Here are some experiences, tips, and what to expect doing retail arbitrage at different stores. First up is Walmart. So if you did not know, if you have your sales tax certificate, resale license, they go by a lot of different names. It's essentially something you get from your state or a state. It doesn't have to be your state. If you didn't know, you could actually get one in every state if you wanted to. But from a state that says you can buy stuff tax exempt because you're going to sell it, resell it online or wherever, if you have the actual brick and mortar, wherever you're going to resell it, and you're going to collect that sales tax when you sell it, so you don't have to pay for it when you buy your inventory. So really quickly, brief overview. So the EIN is from the federal government. So your business, even if you're a sole proprietor, you can get an EIN. Think of that essentially as your business's social security number. So instead of using your social security number, now your business has one called an EIN. That's federal. But on the state side, because we have everything federal and state. So on the state side, you can get, again, a business license if you want in your state, or a sales tax exempt or resale license. It goes by a couple different names. But the way you would do it is just go to your state's Department of Revenue website. Even those go by different names, like in Texas, it's called the comptroller. But anyways, go to that website, look for business taxes, sales and use tax, and in there is somewhere it's going to let you register for a business. If all else fails, call the state. I literally had to call a few states because I couldn't figure out where it was. Some are easier than others. It's actually like small departments. You might think because you're dealing with government, that it's going to be like a big thing, but it's actually pretty easy to get someone on the phone and they can walk you through it. Okay, so that's your sales tax exempt. Again, you can get it as a sole proprietor. You don't have to have a formed LLC business or anything like that. So now once you have that, the first thing you're going to want to do is take that sheet of paper into Walmart customer service desk. I have done it twice now because I've updated my sales tax exempt number, but you would just walk in. I've done it in Indiana and I've now done it in Oklahoma. You just walk into the Walmart guest services, give them your paper, say you would like to get a sales tax exempt card because it's a little card that they give you. They handwrite your business name on it and they give you a number. And what happens is you get that card and you'll take it with you wherever you check out, any Walmart in any state. You give the card to the cashier before they start scanning your stuff. That is key because they're going to have to void it all out and redo it if you give it to them after they've already started checking you out. So you want to do it before they enter it in the number that you've been given, and off you go. I actually got these little, I don't know if they're Avery or what, they're little I think they're technically called business card laminators. They're these little sheets, they're little plastic things that you can put the card that they give you into it. And it just makes it protect it from, getting ruined in your wallet. So I have mine in these little laminated sheets. I have heard in the community that some Walmarts won't help you do it. I don't know if they're just not set up for it or what, but as long as you go to a regular super center, which I call 2-door Walmarts, because in some of the smaller towns, there's a 1-door Walmart. So if your Walmart has 2 doors, it's probably going to work out just fine. But if one Walmart says no, just head into another Walmart. You can also get a sales tax for your online purchases. So you are going to want to do 2 completely separate ones. So one in store and one online. That way, when you order for your business online, if you're doing any online arbitrage, you can get your orders tax exempt that way. Now, I have not had any luck having it work online. I do need to retry it because it's been a couple years, but they kicked it back and said they were going to, contact me or blah, blah, blah. Anyways, it didn't work out for me, but I do know that it does work, that you can do it online. So on the footer of Walmart's website, there's something that says tax exempt or register your business or something. I can't totally remember, but look for it on the footer of walmart.com. Okay, so that's the sales tax exempt part that you definitely want to do. You do not want to be paying sales tax on your stuff. Now, if you live in a state where you don't have sales tax, hello, Oregon, that's awesome. Then you don't even have to worry about any of this stuff. But since most of us do have sales tax, I will be covering that for each store. The other thing you want to consider getting is the Walmart app. Now, there's the free app, but then there's the paid Walmart app. It's the same app. It's just a Walmart Plus account. I think it's $100 a year, $98 or something a year. I paid for it with my business card because that's the only reason I have it. But it does actually pay off because you can get points, and now you can, after you shop so much, you get money back as Walmart bonus points or something in the app, and you can actually get free inventory for your store using that Walmart Plus money to buy inventory. So it works out great. I think I've gotten over $200 in the year or so that I've had. Actually, it's only probably been 6 months that I've had the Walmart paid app because I was just using the free one forever. So that is another thing that you definitely want to consider when you are at Walmart. Now, again, with the app, they have this thing called Scan and Go. I don't actually ever use it. I don't use the Scan and Go. I know Sam's Club also has that because it's, again, owned by Walmart. But what I do use it for in store is when you're checking the price. So there's a couple different ways to check prices on Walmart app. If you're not in store, it's going to be at the top. You have a little barcode scanner that you can check. But if you're in store, a little black pop-up, it knows what store you're in. It'll say enter store mode, and you can check price that way. However, what happens is you'll scan something and it doesn't show up there. And you're like, I'm staring at it on the shelf. How do you not know about it? But if you go ahead and click the Scan and Go and you scan it, then you're going to get the price. It's also how you can find hidden clearance. Have you ever heard about Walmart hidden clearance? That's what they're talking about. It might be priced, clearance for $5, but when you scan it, it's only $1. Another tip for Walmart clearance comes from Becky Stillman. So she actually told me if you look at the labels, the clearance stickers that are on the stuff, there's a little date on the bottom, the bottom right. It has the date that clearance sticker was printed. So if you see that the date was kind of far in the past, make sure you check it to see if it's been marked down further and just not physically marked with a sticker, because you might be getting stuff for even cheaper. Okay, so in Walmart, here's my go-to areas, what I normally will source. So first up, when I typically like to go in the, home and pharmacy door instead of the grocery door. Doesn't matter. But anyways, we're going to start at the home and pharmacy door. So when I go in, usually the first thing there is the seasonal stuff. And so I'll go through the seasonal, whatever it happens to be. As of this recording, there is Easter stuff there, but as soon as Easter's over, it's going to be all kinds of summer stuff, and then back to school, holiday, so on and so on. So that seasonal aisle are really great aisles where you want to check it out. Also next to there, I go through the pharmacy area. So I'll scan different medications, fiber supplements. You can scan vitamins. You can scan anything in that area, really, like beauty stuff. I don't typically buy a lot of beauty stuff there unless it's something that someone shared in the BOLO group, and so I know kind of what I'm looking for. But I do spend some time and source through that medicine area. From there, depending on what your Walmart layout is, there might be a clearance aisle right there in that area. I highly, highly recommend going through the clearance aisle, no matter if you are new or experienced seller. It's a really great place for new sellers, but it also has great stuff for us experienced sellers too. I have been cleaning up so far this year in Walmart clearance. There is amazing products there. I don't know if they had a backlog of stuff or what, but been some awesome clearance. After that, I typically go to the toys. I am really big on Walmart toys. Now, there is, unfortunately, this trend of price tanking happening, and it seems to have hit Walmart specifically, the toys. So just be, careful, especially if you see any people sharing what they bought at Walmart on YouTube, because that is typically how the price tanking will start, but there's just this whole price tanking thing. Y'all, if you don't know, you do not have to tank the price to win the sale. It actually hurts everyone in the long run, and you could be making more money by pricing it higher. But anyways, we're not going to get into price tanking on this episode. Whenever I'm scanning toys in any store, I'm always looking for both store exclusive. So at Walmart, you'll see the little blue sticker. It says store exclusive, and you can take that sticker off. If the Amazon listing actually has the sticker in the photo, then I leave it on because it's already there. But you can take it off. It's usually just, you use a Scotty peeler and a hairdryer, and it comes off pretty easily. The other thing in the toy area I'm looking for is anything that's new to me. So something I've never seen before, or especially in the spring and then in the right before holiday, they do toy resets. So anything that's a new toy or new to me, if you happen to know of what popular movies are coming out or games or anything like that, or Netflix shows, whatever the kids are watching, those things usually are really good toys. Not all of them. You might have to scan a lot. So I use Jurassic Park as an example, or Jurassic World, or whatever it's called now. Those toys, there's usually one in the whole thing that is worth it, but you do have to scan all of them to find that one. So I scan all of that kind of stuff that's new. I also scan anything that's weird, gross, poop, fart, vomit, unicorns, all of that stuff that the kids love. Those are usually also really good ones. After toys, I usually will, or actually before anything, if it's my first Walmart of the day, I grab boxes. I also like boxes from Lowe's, but just in general, buying my boxes from Walmart first store of the day makes it easier because then I can put them on the bottom of the truck and put all this stuff on top of it. Also, if you stick those large boxes on either side of your shopping cart, you can hold a lot more stuff in the cart. It acts like a little wall and builds up the sides like a little barrier. So I get my boxes from Walmart and I go through that. You can also go through the craft area. I don't typically go through there, but I do know of some BOLOs from new sellers specifically that they do really good in that craft area because crafts are ungated for new sellers. Then I go through the grocery aisles. Now I'm not going through all of them. I like what I like. So my go-tos are sometimes I do the condiment aisle, spices, and coffee is typically where I go. There's a hot item in the laundry detergent area right now that you may or may not know about. But yeah, that's what I go through there. And then I kind of call it a day. That's my typical go through to Walmart. Now, every seller's different. Everyone likes selling different things. That's just what I do. So if that helps you, awesome. If you're oh, sweet, she didn't say this area of the store that I love to source, all the better because that is your area.
There's nothing quite like that sound of a new order coming through on your Amazon account. But do you know how much you're actually making on those orders? Your Selling Podcast is excited to partner with Sellerboard. Sellerboard is an accurate profit analytics for Amazon sellers as well as eBay. With just a quick login to the app or your dashboard on a desktop, you can see what your true numbers are for all of your Amazon orders by the day, week, or month. I love to use it to forecast out how I'm going to do that month and use it for my planning. Sellerboard doesn't just tell you your profit, though. They actually do so much more. So if you're creating a private label listing or you're making your own bundles, you can use Sellerboard to get reviews for your product pages. Sellerboard is a robust profit analytics tool, and I use it every day in my Amazon business. You can try Sellerboard yourself, connect it to your Amazon or eBay accounts, and see how it works for you. Get 2 months free by going to yoursellingguide.com/sellerboardprofit. Again, that's yoursellingguide.com/sellerboardprofit. Try Sellerboard today and get the true profit picture of how your business is doing.
Next up is Target. So Target is not Retail Arbitrage reseller friendly, but I've never had any issues, and I actually buy a lot of stuff from Target. So just know that it's, technically not reseller friendly. You can use tax exempt at Target. You just have to ask them or give it to them or tell them that your purchase is tax exempt. I have never done it because I'm too scared that they're not going to let me buy what I want to buy, but I have heard of sellers who use it without issue. Target also has an app, so you want to get the Target Circle app because there's not only like specific deals in there, but it's similar to Walmart, only it's not paid. It's a free app, and you can get points. During Q4, I actually got they had these bonuses they do throughout the year now, and it started last year during Q4. I got like $80 free money just by shopping at Target like I normally would. So you definitely want to get the app. Again, it acts as a price checker when you're in store, so that's awesome. But then the Circle part of the app has all the different offers, so you might find manufacturer coupons. I bought a medicine this week that had a $1 off coupon, so I saved an extra $1 on my inventory. That's an extra $1 profit for me. And so you always want to check those kind of things. It's kind of cumbersome because I literally will scan every product in my cart as I'm putting it in with the app to see if there's any deals. Kind of annoying, but hey, it does pay off in the end if you get some deals or make some extra profit, save some money. To be completely honest, Target, I do source it year-round, but my go-to time for it when I find the most stuff is usually Q4. So around August to September, all the way through the new year is when I do the best at Target. And it's usually you can do a lot of online arbitrage at Target. So even if you're not using a software like Topical Arbitrage, if you are just manually sourcing online at Target, you can find really great deals, especially on toys during Q4 and make a lot of profit. I love Target during Q4. It is an awesome store. They also have the massive bags, whereas Walmart just has the little dinky bags year round, but Target has the big bags. I don't know why these things matter to me. They just do. So at Target, again, my go-to is really toys, but I do same thing as Walmart. I'll go through it and source the medicine aisle. If I am in like a little rut and I just need a personal pick-me-up, I go browse through the clothing, but that's just a personal thing. I love browsing through Target's clothing. At both Target and Walmart, there are toys in the electronic kind of area. It's like not trading card, but it's like a trading card area. There's like different toys in that area. So those are definitely something to look out for. Target holds their clearance on the end caps, but they're on the end caps that are like on the back wall or on the middle wall. So you know how Target has that like middle wall barrier. So they'll have clearance there. You definitely want to check out Target's clearance because they can have some really good stuff. Again, I've been having great luck in Q1 clearance at all the retailers. So definitely check out clearance whenever you see it, scan it and see what you can find. Target also has some good home stuff like the Magnolia, I think it's called Hearth and Hand, stuff that's at Target. You can find that stuff to sell on Amazon. It just takes a little bit more manual sourcing. And then again, I go through the grocery aisles, again, the spices, the baking stuff, and the coffee. You can find some great replans at both Target and Walmart. If you put in the effort at the upfront, once you find that item, it can be a great replan year-round. Okay, next up, TJ Maxx and Marshalls. You can also lump Home Goods into it, but Home Goods is a little different, so I'll touch on that in a second. You want to definitely use your tax exempt at all three of those stores. They will, when you first time you use it, they'll enter you into the software. And so after that, anytime you're at Marshalls, you just give them your phone number. And then I think they do look at the piece of paper, like your sales tax exempt license. They'll take a look at it and make sure it matches and all that. But it's super easy. Also, whenever you return something, if you have to return something to TJ Maxx or Marshalls, if you used your sales tax exempt, it will automatically add it to your new purchase. So that makes it easier. Back in the day, they used to actually make a copy, or I would have to give them an extra copy of my license, but they don't do that anymore. I have heard that some states are not taking resale licenses from other states. That's a new development. I've heard of it only a handful of times. I've never had any issues, and I've, like I said, never used my one in the state that I actually got it from. So far it's been fine, but just know that that may or may not be something that they are rolling out, which is going to be annoying if you travel source and source in another state. Now, both TJ Maxx and Marshalls have shoes. However, Marshalls is the only one that has the boxes for the shoes. And unfortunately, for whatever reason, a lot of the Marshalls store managers are instructing their employees to cut off the box lids. Makes no sense because shoe people like the boxes. But for whatever reason, they are cutting off the lids of some of the boxes. So I've seen it a couple of times. Again, it's like kind of like store manager or regional manager directing that down. But the box lids, if your shoes have a box, then you have to have a box to sell it as new on Amazon. So tennis shoes, they come in a box. They have to have the box. Hanging shoes like flip-flops and slides, those are totally fine to just polybag because they only usually have the little, cardboard hang tag that they hang on. So those are fine to polybag, and those shoes you can find at Marshalls and TJ Maxx. But TJ Maxx does not put out the boxes for their shoes, so Marshalls is really the only one where you can find the shoes. Now, you will find things like Adidas, Puma, Adidas Original, which is a totally different brand, and Under Armour, all that kind of stuff, Nike, at those stores. So those are really great categories to source. You're going to find them in shoes. You're going to find them in that middle area where they have like the workout hats, workout gear, and water bottles, all that kind of stuff you want to scan at those stores. I typically, in both stores, TJ Maxx and Marshalls, go around the perimeter of the store, and then I go to that middle area like I was just talking about where they have the hats and the workout stuff, socks, that kind of stuff. But I'll do the perimeter. So beauty is my go-to. I love the beauty at TJ Maxx and Marshalls. I am always scanning it. That's my go-to area. And then from there, I just fan out around the store. So the next area is going to be home stuff. So you'll have grocery in there. You'll have pots and pans. You'll find journals. You guys, literally the perimeter of the store is awesome. Every single area of it. You could probably scan the handbags. I skipped that part, but every area of the perimeter. So after that, you're going to head over into pet stuff, which you can find some stuff there. Then you'll have the toys. And don't forget about the men's area. The men's area has its own beauty area. They got socks. They have hats. You can even scan all the clothing if you want to. Again, I typically just look for things like the Carter's brand in the baby area, and then anything like the big brands. So Nike, Adidas, Puma, Adidas Original, Under Armour, all those kind of things. If you need help ungating those premium brands, I do have a premium brand guide which can help you get ungated. It's available on my website, yoursellingguide.com. Last but not least, at Marshalls and TJ Maxx, you want to scan the cash wrap. So that whole long aisle that you have to walk through to get to the cash registers, scan that stuff. There's some good stuff there. Depending on what season it is, there might be coffee, there might be napkins. I have had a lot of luck with napkins, you guys. Takes a while to scan them, but you can find them on there. Now, home goods is a completely other beast. So they don't have necessarily the clothing, but they do have beauty. It's only really one little aisle, but they do have beauty stuff there. So definitely check that. They have toys. It's just in a different area. But you can spend all day scanning all the kitchen knickknacks. They have the grocery stuff, and they have really good seasonal stuff. So definitely don't sleep on home goods. It is just a little bit of a different store, but it still has great stuff. And you can find the same stuff that you found at TJ Maxx and Marshalls at Home Goods usually. Next up, Ross. Now, full disclosure, I have not been to a Ross in quite some time. It might actually have been a year since I've been to a Ross. Normally, I really like Ross during Q4, but I just have been having a rut at Ross. I mean, it's been a year, so I need to go to a Ross because I know they have stuff. I see stuff in the BOLO Group all the time, so I need to go to Ross. But because I was like, you find like a couple things, sometimes the line is so long, it's easy for me to skip over Ross, but I would recommend going to Ross for sure. Now, Rosses are dirty, their stuff is kind of beat up, and they always are acting like you are going to shoplift something, which is weird. But anyways, Ross is really good. During Q4, they have really good toys, but the same kind of thing, the same approach as TJ Maxx and Marshalls. So I do the beauty stuff, which is a little more beat up than some of the other stores, but you can find good stuff there. They have shampoos, conditioners. They have high-end beauty, so it takes a little bit of time because they're usually in those little plastic boxes, so you kind of have to like wiggle it around to get the UPC or to scan the front of it to take a photo, like you're going to, find the listing that way. I scan kids' clothing there. For whatever reason at Ross, they're cheaper prices, and also it's not as inundating to me. It's easier for me to scan kids' clothing at Ross for whatever reason. Then I'll scan toys. They also have a grocery aisle. It's just a little bit smaller than the other stores, and then they also have a lot of grocery when you have to go up to check out. So definitely move your cart off to the side and let people go around you and scan all that stuff that's up there. Again, you can find the premium brands there, usually for cheap. In the men's area, they have a men's area there also. And I actually do really good with seasonal stuff at Ross. So I've sold beach blankets or beach towels, I guess they are. They're just big like blankets. I've sold, different inflatables. So they have a good seasonal area. Again, it's probably time for me to go back to Ross. They also have a craft aisle. It's usually around where the toys are and the baby stuff is. So make sure you're scanning that stuff because some of that is really great. Now, for the most part, Ross will not take your tax exempt. You can ask, and you should ask at any retailer, do you take tax exempt? You don't have to say, I'm reselling it. You just say, can I use my tax exempt license here? And most will say yes. Ross will say no. But it's worth asking because I have heard of community members who have been able to use it at Ross. They get, that nice manager or something. I don't really know because they tell me no every time, but always ask. Next store is Ollies. So Ollies is almost nationwide now, but I don't think they're up in the northern areas or in the West Coast yet. But I always tell people to check on Google because if you used to have, now we're getting like it's been a while now, but if you used to have a Toys R Us in your area, Ollies took over a lot of their locations. So Ollies is really great. However, like I said with Walmart and the price tanking, they have started to hit Ollies now. And so you just have to be aware. Don't go too deep at Ollies stuff because there is that trend of price tanking happening at Ollies, unfortunately. Hopefully those sellers give up and go away, and so we can all get back to making money. Now, Ollies also has an app. They have a program, I think it's called Ollie's Army or something. I would highly recommend signing up for it because you will get 10% off coupons all the time. And so that's 10% off your purchase, and you're using your tax exempt, so you're saving even more money. Definitely recommend signing up for that. If it's your first time at Ollies, make sure you sign up for that. Or if you've been to Ollies and they ask you and you say no, make sure you sign up for that because it's awesome. At Ollies specifically, but any of the stores, you want to make sure you're checking the expiration dates because for Amazon FBA, stuff needs to be at a minimum 90 days out, but I say for a minimum 120 days out because when you send something in, it takes about a month or so for it to get there and settle and be able to ship out to customers. And if your stuff expires in that time, they're just going to pull it and it's going to be unsellable. So you want to check expiration dates from the very start. First thing you do, check those expiration dates because nothing is worse than going through, doing all the research to find out if the product was good, only to find out after 5 minutes it's expired. You can pretty much scan the whole store of Ollies. You'll find as you're going, some are better than others, but they have home stuff. They have blankets, they have sheets, they have appliances. You want to watch out for anything that's refurbished. Sometimes the box will look brand new, but you'll see there'll be a sticker that says refurbished. So watch out for those things when it comes to kitchen appliances. They have clothing. You can find bras, underwear, socks in the clothing area. They have toys. Now, the toy area is great during Q4. It does get a little bit smaller for the rest of the year, but you definitely want to check that out. My favorite aisles are, of course, beauty. I love beauty products, if you haven't heard. I am always scanning everything in the beauty. So from toothpaste to shampoos, scanning all of it. If they ever have any medicines there, make sure you scan those. Their grocery items, they're kind of like, I don't really do box cereal, but some sellers do. So you could scan the box cereal, but you want to make sure again that the expiration dates are good. They have candy, and then they have seasonal stuff. So the seasonal stuff is usually in the front. But definitely, you want to scan all the different areas of Ollie's. Now, me personally, I tend to not do home and kitchen stuff all the time at every Ollie's. Depends how my day's going. If I'm not finding a whole lot, then I'll head over that way. But just usually depends. My go-to, again, is beauty. Another thing you want to do at Ollie's is chat up the managers, get to know them, especially if this is your local Ollie's, because those managers might just tell you when they're getting stuff in. I've heard of managers holding stuff in the back for resellers to come by because you're helping them out by buying all their stuff. So they can text you and let you know what they got. Hey, do you want this? So definitely chat up the managers, let them know who you are, and work that working relationship. Similar to Ollie's is Grocery Outlet. Now, Grocery Outlet is only on the West Coast and Pennsylvania. So if you are in those areas, definitely check out Grocery Outlet. Grocery Outlet is my jam. It's where I go to travel source because it's amazing. In fact, I pulled my sales of all time recently for a video. Almost all my items, my best items, my high profit items are Grocery Outlet. That store is the best. Now, if you don't have one near you, I am so sorry, but it is worth traveling to. Same thing with Ollie's. You want to check the dates on everything because not everything is good. You want to use your tax exempt if you have it. I have only sourced grocery. Well, that's not true. I've sourced in California and Washington, but I didn't have a sales tax exempt at the time because if you didn't know, I sold for 3 years before I ever got one. Because again, you don't know what you don't know. So don't be dumb like me. Definitely get it as soon as you can get that sales tax exempt license. So you can use it at Grocery Outlet, but I've only, since I've had it, been sourcing in Oregon. And again, they don't have sales tax in Oregon, so it makes it easy. And you definitely want to chat with the managers at Grocery Outlet as well. I have heard, unfortunately, that some grocery outlets in California, and they only tend to be in California, have been like not letting people buy, but it's like few and far between. I've never had this issue. In fact, I've had people actually give me stuff like, oh, here, let me help you clear my shelf of this stuff. So I would still recommend chatting with the managers, being upfront, and because again, you're going to have that relationship. My cousin sells in Oregon, and she actually has relationships with the managers at all the different grocery outlets, and they'll call her, and she'll just come pick up stuff. Like, she doesn't have to go source anymore. Like, I mean, she's still going to get it, right? But she doesn't have to sit there and scan the stores because she has that relationship with the managers. So, definitely recommend, again, chatting with the managers. Stores like Home Depot and Lowe's. So you can use your tax exempt there. You can use it online even. I have mine logged into my Lowe's account. So you can place orders online, tax exempt. I don't really source these stores a whole lot. So, but I do know that people get a lot of deals, like massive, either online orders or finding clearance. They'll get pallets of stuff at Lowe's and Home Depot. So it does pay to scan and source those stores. Again, everyone has their own things and what they like. But for me, I typically don't find a whole lot there, or I haven't, so I don't source them a lot. But that just means there's more out there for you if you do love it. Things I've heard from the community is that if you scan the clearance stuff at those kind of stores, that's where you find the biggest buck. Liquidation stores. You guys, you know these are my jam. I'm all about the liquidation stores. So these are stores, they're usually one-off stores. There might be one or two. They're totally different. They're not a chain, and they're only in your area, but they have so much good stuff. If you go into one and it's dusty and gross and everything's expired and beat up, don't write off the stores completely because the next one, like I talked about earlier, might be a gold mine. So you definitely want to check them out. These stores, though, you do need to make sure everything is nice, clean, that there's, it didn't melt in a truck and now it's sold again. There's a reason they end up at these liquidation stores. You just want to make sure as best you possibly can that the item is in good, new condition if you're going to sell it on Amazon. If you're going to sell it anywhere else, you could do whatever you want with it, right? You can let the customer know. But on Amazon, you want it to be brand new, new condition. You're going to have to check the expiration dates. Again, make sure you're checking it first thing first because those expiration dates often are way past. But you can find some good ones. Again, 120 days out is what you're looking for. You can use your tax exempt at these liquidation places. You can use it at any store. Just say, can I use my tax exempt? And they'll say yes or no, but it never hurts to ask. These are other stores that you really want to make sure you're chatting with the managers, getting to know the staff so that they'll let you know when they get stuff in before, maybe other sellers in your area come and grab it. In these type of stores, I'm still looking for my mainstays, my grocery items and my health and beauty items. The reason health and beauty is so good at these kind of stores is that typically it's discontinued stuff that ends up there. And if you didn't know, discontinued stuff goes for a lot of money on Amazon. So you can find some really great deals there. Sometimes these stores have like clothing, sometimes they have toys. It's always different and it's a lot of fun to source because things are different every time you go in and you can find a lot of profit there. In stores like Dollar Tree or other like 99-cent only stores, I typically personally will only go for like seasonal stuff at those stores, and you can find really good deals. They take a little bit longer to source and look it up because you have to type stuff in a lot. But 99-cent only store, actually both Dollar Tree and those, they're no longer, only $1. But you can find really good toys at the 99-cent only store. That store is, I think, a Southwest store, so they have some in Texas, and then they have them all throughout California. Dollar Tree is nationwide, so you can find that stuff anywhere. But Dollar Tree is real good for seasonal stuff. So, during Q4, you want to scan all the Christmas stuff, even the like crafty things, the toys there. You can find different bundles. Those stores are really good for bundles. If you are ever interested in knowing what I am selling right now or other sellers in the community are selling and sourcing right now in real time, join the BOLO Group. BOLO means be on the lookout because each month we are sharing profitable finds doing RA and OA. So every item shared has to make a minimum of $5 profit and 50% ROI. So each month you're not only going to get an awesome community of sellers to chat with every day and ask any and all questions about Amazon, but also this lead list full of profitable items. You can learn more or join today at yoursellingguide.com/BOLO and find out what I'm sourcing and what other people are sourcing right now this month. Thank you so much for tuning in today. I'll be back next week with another episode. You can follow and subscribe to this podcast on your favorite podcast player. You can watch this podcast on YouTube at Your Selling Podcast. And you can learn more from me about all things selling on Amazon at yoursellingguide.com. If you've enjoyed this episode, please leave me a review on your favorite podcast player. It really means a lot to me, so thank you so much. If you have a question, if you're a member of the YSG community, or you know someone who would make a great guest on the podcast, please email me at podcast@yoursellingguide.com. Thank you so much for listening. Until next week, happy sourcing.